I am a 35-year-old construction manager from Portland. 7 years ago, I met the woman who would become my wife, Amanda. We built what I thought was a perfect life together, filled with love and dreams for our future. But then, without warning, she vanished from my life. No explanation, just a short note saying she needed space. For 18 months, I struggled to rebuild my shattered world. Then yesterday, my doorbell rang. There stood Amanda, looking tired and desperate, with a baby in her arms. She begged me for a second chance. I shut the door in her face. Before I continue with my story, let me know where you are watching from and hit that subscribe button if you have ever had someone from your past suddenly reappear asking for forgiveness after breaking your trust. I still remember the day I met Amanda. It was at my friend Tony's summer barbecue. The July sun cast a golden glow over his backyard as guests mingled around the grill. I was helping Tony with the burgers when I heard laughter that seemed to brighten the entire gathering. I turned to see a woman with warm brown eyes and a smile that immediately drew me in. "That is," Amanda, Tony said, noticing my stare. "She works with my wife." Want an introduction? Within minutes, we were deep in conversation about our travel dreams. Amanda spoke passionately about wanting to see the northern lights in Iceland, while I shared stories of my backpacking adventures in the Southwest. The chemistry between us was immediate and undeniable. When she gave me her number at the end of the night, I knew this was the beginning of something special. Our first date was at a local jazz club downtown. She wore a blue dress that matched the soft lighting of the venue perfectly. The music provided a perfect backdrop as we shared stories about our childhoods, our careers, and our hopes for the future. Despite our different backgrounds, my blue-collar family contrasting with her wealthy upbringing, we found common ground in our values and dreams. "I never thought I would connect so deeply with someone so quickly," she told me as we walked along the waterfront after the show. The moonlight reflected off the river as I took her hand for the first time. Our relationship progressed naturally. We spent weekends exploring hidden trails in nearby forests, discovering new restaurants and staying up late talking about everything and nothing. After a year of dating, we decided to move in together. My small apartment became our first shared home, cramped but filled with joy and possibilities. I supported Amanda through her career change when she landed a prestigious position as a marketing executive at a growing tech company. She stood by me when I earned my promotion to construction manager after years of hard work. We celebrated each other's successes and weathered the occasional storms together. 2 years into our relationship, I proposed during a sunset hike to our favorite viewpoint overlooking the city. The small diamond ring was nowhere near as magnificent as she deserved, but Amanda cried happy tears as she said yes. "The size of the ring does not matter," she assured me. "What matters is the love behind it." Our wedding was a small ceremony by Silver Lake, surrounded by tall pines and close friends. Amanda looked breathtaking in her simple white dress as she walked toward me. Her parents, who had initially been skeptical about her marrying someone from a different social background, seemed to have finally accepted me. "I promise to love you through all seasons of life," I vowed, my voice catching with emotion. "To build a life of joy and purpose together." "I promise to be your partner in all things," Amanda replied. "To create a home filled with love, trust, and understanding." The first year of marriage was everything I had hoped for. We purchased our first home, a fixer-upper with character and potential. Weekends were spent painting walls, refinishing floors, and transforming the space into our own. Each completed project brought us closer, creating a physical manifestation of our partnership. As our second anniversary approached, the topic of children naturally arose. I had always wanted a family, picturing weekend soccer games and holiday gatherings with little ones running around. "I am not sure I am ready yet," Amanda admitted during one conversation. "My career is just taking off, and I want to establish myself first." I respected her feelings, believing we had plenty of time ahead. "There is no rush," I assured her. "We have our whole lives to figure it out." Looking back, perhaps I should have noticed the subtle changes. Amanda began working later hours, often not returning until I was already asleep. She formed new friendships with colleagues I rarely met. Our physical intimacy declined gradually, with Amanda often claiming exhaustion from work. "You are overthinking things," she would say whenever I expressed concern. "This is just a busy season. It will pass." I believed her because I wanted to, because trust was the foundation of our marriage, because the alternative was too painful to consider. The distance between us grew steadily over the following months. Amanda became increasingly protective of her phone, keeping it face down or taking calls in another room. Working late became her new normal, and weekend work retreats started appearing on her calendar with alarming frequency. "Do you want to talk about what is happening between us?" I asked one night over a dinner she barely touched. "Nothing is happening," she responded with irritation. "You need to stop being so insecure." I tried to reconnect through date nights and thoughtful gestures, but my efforts were met with polite appreciation that felt hollow. Still, I held on to hope that this was just a phase in our marriage that we would overcome. Then came the announcement that changed everything. "I need to go to California for a 2-week business trip," Amanda informed me casually over breakfast one morning. "We are pitching to a major client, and the team needs to be on site." "Maybe I could fly down for a weekend," I suggested. "We could explore San Diego together after your meetings." Her reaction was immediate and strange. "That would not work with the schedule," she replied too quickly. "The team will be working through the weekends. Besides, you cannot afford to take time off right now with your big project deadline." During her trip, communication became sparse. Brief text messages replaced our usual calls. Her social media remained inactive, except for one corporate dinner photo. Something felt profoundly wrong, but I pushed away my suspicions, focusing instead on preparing a special welcome home dinner for her return. That day remains burned into my memory. I came home early from work, grocery bags filled with ingredients for her favorite meal. The house felt oddly still as I walked through the door. At first, I did not understand what I was seeing, or rather, what I was not seeing. Her collection of novels no longer lined the bookshelf. The decorative pillows she had carefully selected were missing from the couch. With growing panic, I rushed upstairs to our bedroom. Her closet stood half-empty, dresser drawers partially barren. On top of the dresser lay her wedding ring and a note written in her familiar handwriting. "I need space. Please do not try to find me." Just 5 words to explain the demolition of our life together. No explanation. No goodbye. Just emptiness where my wife had been. The next hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. I called her friends, her workplace, her parents, anyone who might know where she had gone. Everyone claimed ignorance, though I detected hesitation in some voices that suggested otherwise. "We are as shocked as you are," her mother said, though something in her tone rang false. "Amanda has always been independent. I am sure she will contact you when she is ready." The police were sympathetic but unhelpful. "Adults are free to leave relationships," the officer explained gently. "Without evidence of foul play, this is a personal matter." Desperate for answers, I hired a private investigator, draining our savings account to pay his retainer. 2 weeks of agonizing waiting followed before he called with his findings. "Your wife is living in San Diego," he reported. "She appears to be in a relationship with another man. Based on social media activity I have accessed, the relationship began approximately 3 months before she left." He sent photos that confirmed my worst fears. Amanda walking hand in hand with a tall, well-dressed man along a beach, looking happy, looking in love, as if our years together had meant nothing. Further investigation revealed more painful truths. She had resigned from her job weeks before her departure. Several mutual friends admitted they had suspected something but did not want to get involved. The business trip had been the final step in her carefully planned exit strategy. The betrayal was total and meticulously executed. Everything had been a lie. While I was planning our future, she was planning her escape. My world collapsed inward. I stopped sleeping, lost 20 pounds, and took a leave of absence from work when I could no longer focus on job site safety. Anger, confusion, and self-doubt consumed me. What had I done wrong? Was I not successful enough, not attractive enough? Had anything in our relationship been real? I do not recognize myself anymore. I confessed to my empty house, bourbon in hand, 3 weeks after she left. The man in the mirror had sunken eyes and a vacant stare. I was becoming a ghost in my own life. The wake-up call came when my best friend Jake found me passed out on the bathroom floor, surrounded by empty bottles. The look of fear in his eyes as he helped me up shocked me back to reality. "This is not you, Jed," he said firmly. "You need help." Jake drove me to my first therapy appointment the next day and waited in the parking lot to ensure I went inside. The therapist, Dr. Barrett, was a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who listened to my story without judgment. "What you are experiencing is similar to grief," she explained, "except there is no funeral, no closure. Your brain is struggling to process a profound loss without any of the normal societal rituals that help us move forward." Under her guidance, I began the slow process of facing my pain rather than drowning it. I joined a support group for people who had been abandoned by spouses. Hearing others' stories helped me realize I was not alone in this experience. Filing for divorce was another step toward reclaiming control. My attorney served papers to Amanda's last known address in San Diego, but received no response. After the required waiting period, the court granted a default judgment. The day the divorce was finalized should have felt liberating, but instead left me feeling hollow. "Closure is something you create for yourself," Dr. Barrett reminded me. "It rarely comes from external sources or the person who hurt you." I could not bring myself to discard our wedding album, but I moved it to a box in the attic along with other mementos of our relationship, out of sight but not fully forgotten. Gradually, I returned to work grateful for the structure and purpose it provided. Projects that once seemed routine now offered welcome distraction. My boss welcomed me back with understanding, assigning me to a new hospital construction that required my full attention and expertise. The house that once felt like a museum of our failed marriage needed transformation. I repainted the walls, replaced the furniture Amanda had selected, and rearranged the space to reflect my own tastes. Each change, however small, helped reclaim the space as my own. Old friendships that had fallen by the wayside during my marriage were cautiously rekindled. Weekend fishing trips with college buddies and monthly poker nights slowly reintroduced normalcy to my social life. 6 months after Amanda left, I attempted dating again. The first few attempts were disasters. I was either completely disconnected or overwhelmingly anxious. One woman gently suggested I might not be ready, and she was right. "Recovery is not linear," Dr. Barrett reminded me. "There will be setbacks and false starts. Be patient with yourself." The most significant step forward came unexpectedly. On a whim, I visited the local animal shelter, thinking a pet might provide companionship without the complications of human relationships. That is where I met Buddy, a 3-year-old golden retriever mix, whose owner had surrendered him due to a move. His gentle eyes and instant attachment to me sealed the deal. Having Buddy forced me into healthier routines. Morning walks regardless of weather, regular feeding times, and the simple joy of being greeted enthusiastically each day gave my life new rhythm. His uncomplicated affection began healing parts of me I had thought permanently broken. To fill evening hours, I enrolled in cooking classes at the community center. Learning to prepare meals beyond basic bachelor fare became an unexpected source of pride and creativity. The Tuesday night class became a highlight of my week, providing both a skill and social interaction. Weekend hikes with Buddy in the mountains outside Portland cleared my head and strengthened my body. With each summit reached and valley traversed, the weight of betrayal lightened incrementally. Nature had a way of putting human problems into perspective. The 1-year anniversary of Amanda's departure arrived with less pain than I had anticipated. On Dr. Barrett's suggestion, I performed a personal ritual, burning old letters and photos in my backyard fire pit, not with anger but as an acknowledgement of release. "I forgive you," I whispered to the flames. "Not for you, but for me." 2 weeks later, while playing fetch with Buddy at the dog park, I met Laura. Her chocolate Labrador and Buddy became instant friends, which gave us reason to talk. Unlike my previous attempts at dating, conversation with Laura felt natural and unforced. She was a pediatric nurse with kind eyes and an easy laugh. We exchanged numbers without the weight of expectation. Our first coffee date led to dinner the following weekend. I found myself genuinely enjoying her company, laughing without effort for the first time in what felt like forever. Laura had her own past relationship wounds, which perhaps explained her patience and understanding. We can take this as slowly as you need, she assured me when I awkwardly explained my situation. For 18 months after Amanda left, I gradually rebuilt my life. It was not the life I had planned, but it was becoming one I valued. My relationship with Laura progressed cautiously, but steadily. Work brought new challenges and rewards. Buddy continued to be my loyal companion. The raw wound of abandonment had finally scarred over. Then came that Sunday morning. The doorbell rang while I was enjoying coffee on my porch, Buddy lounging at my feet. An unfamiliar car was parked outside. Curious and slightly annoyed at the interruption, I opened the door. Time seemed to freeze. Amanda stood on my doorstep looking both familiar and strange. Her hair was shorter, her face thinner. Dark circles underscored her eyes. But the most shocking sight was the infant carrier in her hand, a tiny baby bundled inside. Jed, her voice cracked. Please, I made a terrible mistake. Pure instinct took over. Without a word, I closed the door. My hand shook so badly I could barely turn the lock. Behind the door, I heard her begin to cry. The panic attack hit immediately after I closed the door. My chest tightened as if bound by steel cables, each breath becoming increasingly difficult. Collapsing onto the hallway floor, I felt Buddy press against me, his warm presence anchoring me to reality as wave after wave of shock pulsed through my system. My phone began buzzing incessantly. Text messages and missed calls from an unknown number, presumably Amanda's new phone, flooded the screen. Please just talk to me. I know I do not deserve it. The baby is not yours, but I need your help. Each message felt like another blow. With trembling hands, I called the one person I knew would understand. She is back, I told Jake when he answered. With a baby. Within 20 minutes, Jake arrived, letting himself in with the spare key I had given him during the darkest days after Amanda left. He found me still sitting on the floor, Buddy protectively at my side. Did you talk to her? He asked, helping me to the couch. I just shut the door, I admitted. I could not even speak. Jake checked outside. The car was gone, but a note had been wedged under the welcome mat with a phone number and hotel information. Over the following hours, more details emerged through Amanda's relentless messages. The baby was 4 months old, a boy named Daniel. He was not my child, small comfort in the tsunami of emotions washing over me. I need to understand what happened. I finally texted her after consulting with Dr. Barrett in an emergency phone session. But I cannot do this at my home. We arranged to meet at a coffee shop downtown. Jake positioned himself at a nearby table, ready to intervene if necessary. When Amanda walked in, the baby strapped to her chest in a carrier, the surreal nature of the situation hit me anew. Thank you for meeting me, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. Up close, she looked even more exhausted than she had on my doorstep. The story she told was both predictable and shocking. Her affair had been with a wealthy client from her marketing firm, the man I had seen in the investigators' photos. Their relationship had been exciting at first, full of luxury and promises. I thought I wanted that life, she explained, eyes downcast. The travel, the status, the freedom from financial worries. But the fantasy had crumbled when she became pregnant. Her boyfriend had initially suggested an abortion. When she refused, his behavior became controlling, then verbally abusive. By her 3rd trimester, she was alone again, abandoned, just as she had abandoned me. My parents refused to help unless I terminated the pregnancy, she explained, tears falling. They said I had already embarrassed them enough with the divorce. Financial desperation had driven her back to Portland, back to the one person who had always been reliable. Back to me. I realize now what I threw away, she said, reaching for my hand across the table. I pulled away before she could touch me. Nobody has ever loved me the way you did. We could try again. You always wanted children. The baby began to fuss, and I watched as she expertly soothed him. Despite everything, I felt a twist of sympathy for the innocent child caught in the wreckage of adult choices. Leaving the coffee shop, I felt pulled in contradictory directions. Part of me remembered the good times, the love we had shared. Another part recognized the manipulation in her tears, the convenience of her return when all other options had failed. She only came back because Plan A did not work out. Jake pointed out bluntly on the drive home. You are the safe backup option. Laura noticed the change in me when we met for dinner that evening. After hesitating, I told her about Amanda's return. What are you thinking of doing? She asked carefully. I honestly do not know, I admitted. Everything I thought was resolved has been stirred up again. Laura nodded, her expression unreadable. You need time to process this. I understand. That night, in an emergency session, Dr. Barrett helped me navigate the emotional minefield. Consider what you want, not what Amanda needs, she advised. Your responsibility is to your own well-being now. Amanda launched a persistent campaign to re-enter my life. Daily messages reminisced about our happiest moments together. Twice she appeared at my worksite, baby in tow, causing uncomfortable questions from colleagues. She mailed a box of mementos, ticket stubs from concerts. We attended photos from our honeymoon, the shell collection from our beach vacation. Most disturbingly, she began using mutual friends to advocate on her behalf. Several called to suggest I should at least hear her out or consider the baby who needs a father figure. Her parents, who had barely acknowledged me during our marriage, suddenly called to express how much they missed me in the family. The emotional manipulation reached its peak when Amanda sent a video of baby Daniel saying hello to Jed, though the infant was clearly just making random sounds. The transparent attempt to use an innocent child as leverage clarified something for me. After 2 weeks of this campaign, I agreed to one final meeting at the park near my house. This time I went alone, having prepared exactly what I needed to say. Amanda arrived, looking more put together than before, a hint of her old confidence returning. She had clearly expected this meeting to go her way. I have been thinking about us. I began as we sat on a bench, the stroller positioned between us. About everything that happened. I knew you would come around, she said, smiling for the first time since her return. We were always meant to be together. We could be a family, the three of us. I looked at her carefully, seeing both the woman I had loved and the stranger who had destroyed our marriage. The past year and a half of healing flashed through my mind. The therapy sessions, the friendships that sustained me, the new relationship with Laura built on honesty and mutual respect. I have spent 18 months rebuilding my life after you left, I said calmly. It was the hardest thing I have ever done, but I did it. I found happiness again. Her smile faltered. But we could be happy together. People make mistakes, Jed. This could be our second chance. This is not about forgiveness, I explained. I have already forgiven you, for my sake, not yours. But forgiveness does not mean allowing someone back into your life when they have proven untrustworthy. I gestured toward the baby sleeping peacefully in his stroller. I am sorry for what happened to you. No one deserves to be abandoned, especially with a child involved. I understand that better than most. Then I laid out clear boundaries. I would help her find local resources for single parents. I would even contribute financially to the baby's needs for 6 months while she established herself, but not directly to her. The money would go to a trust managed by my attorney, but we will not be getting back together, I finished firmly. Our relationship is over. It ended the day you chose to leave. Her reaction revealed everything. The tears disappeared, replaced by cold anger. You are really going to punish me forever for one mistake, she demanded loud enough that nearby parents turned to look. After everything we meant to each other, it was not one mistake, I replied evenly. It was thousands of choices made day after day to betray our vows and our trust. And this right now, trying to manipulate me, instead of respecting my decision, that is another choice you are making. As I stood to leave, Amanda grabbed my arm. If you walk away now, that is it. I will not give you another chance, she threatened. For the first time since her return, I laughed genuinely. That is exactly the point, Amanda. I do not want another chance with you. I wish you and Daniel the best, but my answer is final. Walking away from that bench felt like setting down an enormous weight I had not realized I was still carrying. Back home, I called Laura and told her everything. Her response was supportive without pressure, another reminder of what a healthy relationship should feel like. 6 months later, Amanda had moved back to her parents' home in Seattle. Whatever reconciliation they had achieved remained their private business. My attorney confirmed she had used the trust fund responsibly for the baby's needs. My relationship with Laura continued to grow, built on honesty and mutual respect. When I finally told her I loved her, the words came without fear or reservation. The most important lesson I learned through this ordeal was not about Amanda or betrayal, but about myself. I discovered that trust must be rebuilt carefully, not blindly given. That self-respect matters more than the false comfort of a toxic relationship. That closure comes from within, not from the person who hurt you. I learned that real strength often comes through vulnerability, not in spite of it. That the pain we experience can either destroy us or transform us into someone wiser, more compassionate, and more authentic. Today I understand that some doors need to remain closed so that new ones can open. The life I have now is not the one I originally planned, but it is rich with genuine connection, hard-earned wisdom, and possibilities I never imagined. What about you? Have you ever had to make the difficult choice between forgiving someone and allowing them back into your life? Let me know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes the hardest decisions lead to the greatest peace. Share this with someone who might need to hear that it is okay to choose yourself.